yesterday. Would you happen to say that the Lions also got some help and some things to go their way?
They did get some help. The Bears did what the Bears do. And before we really break down exactly how they effed themselves again, I got to go down a list just so we can point and laugh at the Bears of just how they have screwed themselves this season. I'm going to give you 4 different scenarios, and I'm going to have you guys guess what the Bears' record in those 4 games are. The first game, the Bears score a go-ahead touchdown to go up 3 with 25 seconds left. Game number 2, the Bears line up for a potential game-winning 46-yard field goal down 1 with no time on the clock. Scenario number 3, the Bears force overtime and get the ball first. Scenario 4, they have 1st and 10 at the opponent's 25-yard line with 46 seconds left, down 3. Would anybody care to guess the Bears' record in those 4 games?
They should be 4-0 by the sounds of things.
They are 0-4 in those games. They lost every single one of those games in which they had golden opportunities to win. And I'll tell you what they did yesterday might have been the worst of them all. Caleb Williams, he took a sack that he shouldn't have.
Remind me again. I like this story.
Yeah, Caleb Williams took a sack that he shouldn't have. It looked like a weird busted play where Zadarius Smith came unblocked. But the Bears, instead of having their wits about them, instead of maybe Matt Eberflus calling a timeout, they let the clock basically run out.
Yeah.
The Bears didn't snap the ball until there were 5 seconds left. They had an opportunity to call a timeout, regroup, and maybe have another play to set up a game-tying field goal attempt, but they let the clock run out.
Ridiculous.
And I understand that Caleb Williams did a dumb thing. He's a rookie. It's what rookies do sometimes. But to me, that was more on Matt Eberflus, man. You've got to call timeout. You've got to put your young quarterback in situations where they don't just run the clock out. I mean, it's a situation where there's a lot of panic going on, and we all know that.
He was looking over at the sideline like a deer in headlights, like, what are we doing?
That's what made it worse. That was the icing on the cake.
But tell me his eyes wasn't like, Coach, he even looked up at the scoreboard like, bro, you ain't gonna call a timeout? Like,
bro, even the Lions were looking confused. Like, did the game really end like this?
Yes. I was confused.
Trying it back towards the line, like confused.
Yeah.
Like that was very, very weird situation. I don't know what we were seeing. Bears fans didn't know what they were seeing. Lions fans didn't know what we were seeing. It looked familiar.
Yeah.
You know, not necessarily the exact same situation, but seeing a team just go and say, hey, foot, hey, shotgun, bam, meet it. Like big musket to your own foot. Like we've seen that before, and just to see another team do that on Thanksgiving Day and for it to be the Bears was the ultimate FTB as well.
Well, how thankful are we that we have Dan Campbell as our head coach?
That's a
honestly,
fact, man. And he outcoached the hell out of Matt Eberflus.
Absolutely.
Yesterday.
I mean, I think Matt Eberflus proved that we obviously hope that he gets a lifetime contract with the Bears, but he is the worst coach in the NFL because a lot of these scenarios that I showed you, all 4 of them, I think you can point to coaching as the biggest reason in totality why the Bears are 0-4 in those games. I mean, we can go back to that Hail Mary defense where Tyreek Stevenson was taunting the fans while the play was going on. That is an undisciplined, poorly coached team that they couldn't execute a game-winning field goal. It got blocked. That's just what happens to the Bears. And honestly, they should be ashamed of themselves for letting that man even stay this year and have a year with Caleb Williams. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. The end of last season, they finished somewhat strong, and obviously Montez Sweat came in and played well, and Matt Eberflus is a defensive-minded coach, but we all had suspicions that he was a bum. And this year, he has the coaching job that he has done. He gets an F-.
Look, bro, in the future, do you think Caleb Williams just goes on ahead and calls the timeout himself?
Probably.
He has to learn. He has to learn. And I got another stat for you, Sam. Matt Eberflus's record in one-score games, 5 of 19.
Well, and that's why it's on the coach, because whether it's Justin Fields, whether it's Caleb Williams, it's been a thing with the Bears just not executing in crunch time. When it comes to winning time, when it comes to making the one play that will win you the game or lose you the game, the Bears more than often than not fall on their face. They've done they'll do the things that will get you close. Like, you got to give credit to Caleb Williams in that Commanders game. He didn't play well the whole game, but he led the go-ahead touchdown drive. He helped get them to overtime. He led the drive to put them in position to kick a field goal against the Packers. He did a lot of nice things, but when it comes to executing on the one play that will win you the game, they have fallen on their face in a way that I've never seen an NFL team, period, do in a season. They probably feel like they should be in the wild card hunt for sure. Yeah. But they're done. Their season's over.
It's over, especially if they're putting yourself in position to have a chance to actually win that game.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of help from the refs.
Sure.
Whatever. Like I said again, I'm so glad that we don't have to sit up here anymore and talk about, man, we got cost by this. No, we're a team that overcomes that. But to know that the Bears were given that opportunity and you still pooped it away,
it's
James
crazy.
Houston style is crazy.
Yeah, like I don't get it, man. Like I said, I totally agree with Sam. This is 90% on Matt Eberflus because you got to protect your rookie quarterback in that situation, man. But the other 10 has to go to Caleb Williams and the Bears offense as a whole. There was no sense of urgency. At the end of the Zadarius Smith sack, they had 32 seconds. Do you know how much you can do in 32 seconds? If you call the timeout as soon as the sack happens, you can draw up a play. Even if you can't get to the sideline, you can get to the middle of the field, hurry up, spike it, and then you either play for the field goal or even play for the game. I don't mind them playing for the game, but the fact that you just continued to let the clock run, by the time Caleb Williams and the offense got set, 20 seconds had been wasted. He snapped the ball at 6 seconds. They had 32 seconds, bro. That is just, it's horrible, man. And they do have to get better from this. Caleb has to learn from this in the future. Like you said, he can call the timeout on his own, but ultimately this is definitely on coaching. I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, it definitely. This was a game where I keep seeing people in the chat talk about, the Bears outplayed the Lions. And you know what? When you lose so many different players, you know what their starters are going to do? They're going to probably outplay our third string guys.
Well, the Bears didn't outplay the Lions.
And they did. They didn't. But you're going to see guys like Keenan Allen. You're going to see guys like DJ Moore. You're going to see guys that are supposed to be the horses get theirs. Especially when they're playing up against Kendall Vildor rather than some of the, a secondary that's not as healthy as it's supposed to be. And so it's like, a defensive line that does not have Aiden Hutchinson, linebacking core that does not have, Alexander Anzalone and such. So it's like there's going to be certain things that you should expect. This Lions team is not going to look like they are at full strength. That's going to look like something. And that's where the thing that I love that has been called out already is that Dan Campbell and this coaching staff, they were a huge difference in this game. Whereas to contrast this with the FTB, with the Bears, it's like their coach didn't pick them up when they had an opportunity to win it. The game was in their possession. It was in their destiny. Go out there and punch this with just a few. Bro, just call the timeout. You were 4 yards away from your kicker's range, bro.
Well, and that's the thing, because when we talk about clock management, obviously, you're right. Caleb Williams panicked a bit. He got sacked. He panicked. There wasn't the sense of urgency that he needed. But when it comes to clock management, it always falls at the foot of the coach. He's a third-year head coach. He should know better. Caleb Williams obviously wasn't smart. He is going to be remembered, unfortunately for Bears fans, more for that than for the good things that he did. But at the end of the day, it was just a malfeasant coaching job by Matt Eberflus. It's not even, you don't even need Dan Campbell to take that game, to at least take some of these games home. Maybe not yesterday necessarily, but at least a couple of the 4 that I mentioned. I think even a guy like Kevin Stefanski with the same amount of talent gets you a couple wins. Even someone like Nick Sirianni, I think, wouldn't poop away the games the way that Matt Eberflus did. And what makes it even more funny is that the Bears, you can see it when you watch them. They've got a lot of talent. Even their defense yesterday, they didn't do a great job of stopping the run, but they put some pressure on Jared Goff. They forced they forced 3 field goals. They forced 4 field goal attempts. The Bears are a talented team. They have the talent, in my opinion, to be a playoff team, but they're sitting here at 4-8 after just vomiting all over their own nutsacks. And I get it. That's a very, very graphic thing that I just said, but those are 4 times where you just, crap down your leg, vomit on your own nutsack. I'll say it again. It's of the most epic proportions.
I was trying to get the visual out the mind, and then you said it again. It just is what
but
it is.
isn't that apropos for these 4 games? If I'm going to pull it out, which this is the second time I've used and vomited on their own nutsacks, this is the time to do it.
It's appropriate because we've been there. It's like, you know what? Sometimes it takes one to know one, and it's like we have seen this before. Yes. We've seen coaching cost us. We've seen us have the leader of men, but that he doesn't have the right coordinators. We've seen the defense be there and then the offense. We've seen this stuff before. We've seen the upstart young quarterback that has just some talent, but not necessarily enough around him as it relates to that coaching as well to put him in the right positions to win. But you know what? I'm not saying sorry to anybody. Just like nobody was saying sorry to us as Detroit Lions fans. Instead, people took it further and wanted to be able to take it to the places of the detriments that the city was going through and trying to come back from. I'm not going to go that far, but that's why, to the things that happen on the field, is why FTB to me is encapsulated in that JMO play. People want to say, oh, that's stupid. It could have cost us the game. I understand what they're coming at. We don't want them to do that again. But I know a lot of people out there believe that when he was running, I think, to the sidelines, that was a person who almost or tried to trip JMO.
Yeah, he was all in JMO's way.
Then he was yapping at him before JMO even said anything. And then that's when it was like, all right, here we go. We don't want to retaliate, get more mature. But it's the Bears, the Lions. There's going to be stuff sometimes that goes over the edge, and it's the stuff that is absolutely the FTB. Brian Branch got fined for the middle fingers to the crowd at Lambeau. And what do? We put it on a T-shirt. Hopefully that gets on a T-shirt for however long his camp lets it be on a T-shirt. We love y'all.
You don't hear
Williams family.
You don't hear the hate for Brian Branch though, and he outright got beat yesterday by DJ Moore. Uncharacteristic, man. You talk about the Gibbs fumble, but him getting beat deep by DJ Moore, you don't normally see that from Brian Branch, man.
But that's the point I tried to make earlier in a roundabout way, is that they've got a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah.
And they're blowing it, and you just hate to see it, right?
It looked like a 12th ranked defense to you yesterday?
I mean, the Bears, I thought that they handled themselves well. As we're going to talk about later, they didn't stop the run for the most part, but I thought they made Jared Goff's life hard at times. And we're going to talk about that more because he was still able to come home with the Madden Thanksgiving MVP as he should have. And we're going to talk about that. Let's break down how Jared Goff...